it was my dream since I was a child to become a writer. Then when I was a teenager, I started realizing that my way of expressing myself it was through writing. If you want to be an artist, it's something that's normally dangerous to your family. They want you to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, but not an artist. Artist is a taboo. So my parents, they said, oh no, you cannot be a... There is no tradition of writers in our family. We are engineers, we are doctors, we are lawyers. And there was this struggle. And I ended up in a mental institution because they thought that I was crazy. They thought, oh, we cannot give to this young man discipline enough to follow our dreams, their dreams, not my dream. Huh? And I went to this mental institution that, by the way, it is the subject of one of my books, Veronica Decides to Die. And I said, when I left the institution, I was there 3 times. Okay, now that I'm officially crazy, I can be a writer, because writers, they're supposed to be crazy. I cannot run for presidency because, of course, one day they're going to find a file. He was in a mental institution, and but the only thing that I could not do was to run for president of Brazil. I can plan. You know, I can have enough experience to plan a book from the beginning to the end, and then it will be the most boring book to write because you're not surprised by your inspiration. You know, because when you write a book, you don't know what's coming out. So sometimes, you know, you are guided by the characters. When I used to read biographies of writers, and they used to say, oh, you are guided by the characters, I said, this is not true, this is only true. Now I realize that it is true. We used my experience in Russia, where at the very beginning I was not selling books because Russia is a gigantic country. So I decided to put the Alchemist for free download in internet. I went from 10,000 copies to 1 million copies in 2 years. Right? And since then, well, what do? I don't have the right to, because the translation belongs to the publisher. But I go to all these big torrent sites, peer-to-peer sites, and I collect all the links and I put in my blog. When you give, you have a lot in return. But when you are greedy and you think about copyright, come on. Yes, nobody's going to... I think for music it's quite complicated because music you download and you hear. But for books, no. You download, you read some pages, and say, it screams too complicated. Let me buy the book. I don't have any future projects. My future project is to live my next minute or die in front of the camera.